Are you kidding me? You're kidding me. Who wrote this bullshit? Was this you?
I don't know.
Was this you?
No, it was here when I
It
came.
wasn't you. Okay, so here's what's going on here. This is now a children's friendly channel. Our shit's getting demonetized left, right, and center. You understand? This is a fucking children's channel, and some asshole writes all this here, and you're just gonna record it. And you didn't notice it.
Maybe we should give it a call.
Excuse me?
Maybe we should give it a call.
Okay, so see, this is the problem right here. I respect that you think that you have an opinion worth sharing, but you don't. Your opinion's fucking bullshit. Keep it to yourself. Fix this shit. Can we just appreciate Severance skills right here? This is so much better. What's cracking, guys? Omar Yusuf here, back with another video. We got the abs. I don't know if we could see it or not. You're like, no, you look like you're 18% body fat. To talk about the best training split for you, and that's what I want to stress today. The individual is very important. I'm going to show you a 3-day split, a 4-day split, and a 5-day split. We're going to link the timestamps right here so you can jump to the one that you think is best for yourself. What I will say is that the best program is the one that you'll follow. The most optimal routine is the one that you can adhere to. I would say for most individuals with their goals, training probably 4 to 6 days per week would be best, with most individuals falling underneath 4 to 5. However, you can get really good gains training 3 days a week. You'll need to make it full body, and I'll show you those adjustments. I'm going to make a few assumptions here. That you're not a powerlifter, so you don't want to maximize this quality, but you want to get jacked, and you think it's pretty cool to get strong. So yes, people call power building, whatever. We're going to use fundamental compound movements and attempt to progressively overload them with time to get better at them. Let's keep it simple, right? That's what really induces the most hypertrophy for natural athletes. The 3-day split, and you're going to notice the percentage at the top of each of the routines, will probably get you, and these are just rough numbers, this is not hard science at all, but just to give you a mindset, that if you train 3 times per week, you're still going to get at least 70 to probably 80, 85% of your total gains. You train 4 times per week, you'll probably get 80 to 95%. If you train 5 days per week, it's probably once again going to be between 85% and 100%. Some individuals will maximize their progress because they have a lot of stress in life, just training 3 days per week. So I'll go over each one. There's timestamps. If you enjoy this concept where I'm taking the flexibility of the person into account, like this video, leave a comment below, and let's get started first with a 3-day per week training split for size and strength. So you have selected the 3-day split option. We're going full body here, folks. And like I said, congratulations. I think this is a very effective routine. The number written here is not a hard number. It's just to make you conceptualize the idea that if you do this routine, you're likely to get 70 to 80% of your maximum gains if you really apply yourself and train 4, 5, or even 6 times per week. I think 6 times for most people is not what you need to do. I think probably 4 to 5 times per week is the sweet spot, but that's not a negative thing. Once again, if you're a recreational lifter, if you like to lift, you want to look a little bit more jacked, you want to get stronger, this is a fantastic routine. Roughly, let's break it down. So it's 3 days per week, and this once again isn't a pure strength program. So things such as incorporating singles, that can be discussed at a later point in time, but this is the skeleton of what we'll be doing. You'll notice you squat 3 times per week, you bench 3 times per week, and you deadlift twice per week. That is because I think that the deadlift is actually pretty taxing overall on fatigue, and we're trying to manage that. 3 times per week isn't that much, but if you add up the total amount of sets that we're doing, I'm pretty sure it's between 20 to 24 sets per workout. So throughout the entire week, you're doing 60 total working sets. That's a lot, right? Because we're training 3 times per week. Approximate time to complete each workout would probably be between, I'd say, 90 minutes and 2 hours. So in total, you're training 4 to 6 hours per week, most likely. Okay, now let's break this down. We're following something basic called DUP, Daily Undulating Periodization. That's a really fancy way of essentially saying that as the week progresses, you're doing less repetitions and more intense weight. We're not using percentages here for now to start. What we're going to do something called RIR, reps in reserve, where it's going to be a 4-week cycle, a 4-week block. We're starting on week 1, you train at a lower intensity. Week 2, you increase it. Week 3, you increase it even more. And finally, week 4, you're going to bring it back down and then build the cycle once again. So 3 weeks of accumulating, 1 week of deloading, and then recharge it and reload it and do the exact same thing. But what you'll tend to notice notice here is that it's full body once again because we're only training 3 times per week. So we want to train the muscles at a high enough frequency to induce hypertrophy. You'll notice that there's a pretty wide variety, and for some of them, like such as bicep curl, this allows you to choose whatever bicep curl you like to do. You could do an incline dumbbell curl, you could do a barbell curl, you could do an easy curl, you could do a preacher curl. So it's a good skeleton to adapt and make it flexible in whatever way that you want. We add certain things, so we have some unilateral movements such as walking lunges. I just think they are a great movement, especially when we're doing 3 lower body movements probably per day, so that's 3, 3, 3, 9 total exercises. We also have a good split between push and pull. So we're trying to excel on the bench press. So you'll notice the bench press 3 times. And we also add in the incline bench press. Why? What is the rationale behind some of this programming? Well, on the incline bench, the upper pec right here doesn't get stimulated enough on the bench press. So we throw it in to give it enough love and attention. Things like face pulls, most people, when it comes to external rotators, their rhomboids, their posterior deltoid, when they do overall rowing movements, they're tiny muscles, so we want to give them enough attention if we want to build an aesthetic physique. So we talk about the V shape once again. You'll notice there's no calf raises. We don't need to talk about that. I will say, however, for this, when we talk about each week, there's more information in the description how to manage that RIR, reps in reserve. Some people struggle with RPE, how to judge their intensity. Basically, if I had to explain it, week 1, you're getting used to the routine, so you're training hard, but you're not going nutty. Week 2, it gets more intense, where you're going to be probably pretty fatigued after each of these sessions. And finally, week 3, you're going to be quite fatigued. We want you to train at a very high intensity. And finally, week 4, you back off. So you do the movements at an appropriate weight where it's manageable and you feel good after you finish that session. You know when you got that dopamine rush and you feel pretty good? So we build up in intensity, then we lower back down and build it again. And in that way, training overall kind of works like a wave. Other things to note. Again, we said basics like a squat, or we said basics like a deadlift. You could do a conventional, you could do a sumo. Doesn't really matter. When we take a look at the correlation of total muscularity and strength, we tend to notice that the deadlift is the least correlated, whereas the bench and squat, it's much higher. So you'll notice that the overall volume of deadlifts are much lower than everything else. And that is because I think the skill acquisition of the deadlift is different than those other 2 movements, which is why we see a lot of 150-pound dudes pulling 500 pounds. So we keep the volume low on deadlifts because I do think they're pretty damn fatiguing, but we keep everything else 20 to 24 total sets. So I'd say for a 3-day split, this is a really good skeleton. And again, everything is linked in the description.
Follow what we're saying, Brady? Yeah. No, yeah.
You have selected the 4-day split. Oh, it's going to get good. So we are calling it full body because once again, we're incorporating upper and lower body movements into every single day, but it's going to be a little bit different. You'll notice some similarities if you took a look at the 3-day split with the 4-day split, such as Monday. There's that general trend where we increase the intensity of the lifts as the week progresses. So we still are doing something roughly approximating DUP, daily undulating periodization. The total amount of volume is higher. So previously the 3-day split, I think it was 64 total working sets. Now we have 78 throughout the entire week. So that's almost a 20% increase. That's pretty damn cool. And so I think for most individuals, if you're an intermediate lifter, this is a very good split that will get you most of your goals. And that's why I wrote here 80 to 95% towards what would be your maximal progress. I think this is a sweet spot. I think a 4-day split is very manageable for most people. Every single session is probably going to take you, this one will probably take you 75 minutes, but everyone's going to take you probably 90 minutes. So you add it up, and you're looking at approximately maybe 6 to 8 hours per week training commitment. So previously we had 4 to 6 hours, this is 6 to 8 hours. Let's talk about some of the differences or the principles of this routine. So again, on Monday, we have full body every single day. We're doing the big basic compound movements here. We do the squat, the bench, the deadlift. We are lowering some of the total working sets. So if you notice on the squat, we do 3 sets instead of 4 sets. On the deadlift, instead of doing 4 sets, we do 3 sets. Once again, we lower the total amount of working sets. So the overall training volume per session goes down. And then we add in an additional day. So that's how we distribute the volume to make sure that you're sufficiently recovered. So we know what's up with Monday. On Tuesday here, it's basically not a work on weak spots, but just extra areas that we want to add more muscularity. Everyone wants bigger shoulders. This is kind of guy specific. So we have the overhead press. We're allowed now to focus more specifically on that movement. The front squat, I think, is just a great quad builder. I think it helps with something called thoracic extension, unlike if you do a low bar squat. So it's just a nice little complement for your overall squatting. Dumbbell Romanian Deadlifts for individuals. I'd probably take the count, the eccentric, a little bit slower to really feel it in the hamstrings and the glutes. And then once again, targeting the lats. So we do a straight arm pull down, dips, which are a little bit more tricep dominant. So we want to probably keep the elbows a little bit more tucked. And then the Pallof Press in order to target, once again, the obliques, focus on that anti-rotation. So you can almost consider the fourth day a day that we added an assistance day. So it's rounding off some of the edges of doing a full body routine 3 days per week. Because ask yourself this question right here. Okay, we look at this right here. Is that enough back volume? Maybe, maybe not. So we throw in a little bit more. Same idea with shoulders. Is it enough shoulder volume? Maybe, maybe not. So we're rounding off the edges with this additional workout. And once again, we're following the same principle here where it's RIR. So it's a 3-week buildup. 4th week is going to be a deload. And an easy way for people to follow this, I like this as a heuristic, is that on the 4th week, you can just knock out 1 set from every single movement. So on the 4th week, instead of doing, I think this is 18 sets, honestly I'd have to add it up, but you do instead 1 less for every single movement. You're doing probably then 10 sets, 10 working sets. So you add it up, you subtract everything right here, and we go 7, 6, 13, 20, 27. So you're doing instead probably around 51 total working sets on your week 4. That's a nice little deal, especially if you're feeling grizzled. If you're not, then you could just continue as is. But again, with RIR, you start probably on the main movements like a RIR 3, week 1, RIR 2, week 2, RIR 1, so 1 rep in reserve on the 3rd week, and then finally on the 4th week, you deload in order to give your body time to recover so you can keep killing your training. But I think this is a very good overall split. Again, it's a skeleton framework. You can adapt it as need be. You can sub in, sub out certain movements, but I think this is a very effective routine, especially for someone that wants to focus on size with a nice dash of strength sprinkled in. You have chosen the 5-day split. You're brave. I appreciate that. You'll notice that actually this board right here is blanked out because it's impossible with our hands to write every single day. So we're just going to throw up a text on the screen. You'll notice once again here, in terms of your maximal progress, we wrote 80 to 100%. I don't want you to think like, yeah, 100% here, and on the 4-day split it only said 95%, therefore this is better. Not really, okay? So the volume overall is higher, so it's another 5% higher than what you're experiencing before, but we're just distributing that volume a little bit differently now. So we're training Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I should note once again, as an example, not being ageist here, but if you're 45 years old, a 3-day split might be fantastic for you. Your body's ability to recover might be best for you. So again, it's about experimenting to see what works right for you. And if we talk about long-term progress for every single individual, I'd say there should be phases probably that are 4 times per week, some phases that are 5 days per week. And then if you're nutty like me, or if you really like to have a lower volume per day approach, 6 days per week. But 5 days, I think, will accomplish most goals for most people, 4 or 5 days on the split. Let's talk about it. So we're still squatting 3 times per week. We're still deadlifting twice per week, and we're benching 3 times per week. We have some overhead press variations. We also are focusing on smaller muscles. So this is where you'll tend to notice you have enough time and attention, because let me frame it to you this way. If you want to add the most amount of muscle to your frame, you should stick with compound movements, which is why on the 3-day split, it was largely compound movements. We had 1 bicep curl. Now we have more distributed once again throughout the week, because I think for a lot of individuals, you know, a pull-up is good. I did 10,000 pull-ups, over 10,000 in a year, and my biceps did not really grow. I think for certain small muscles, we need to focus on them. So things like lateral raises, you'll notice on the 5-day split. So the fundamentals aren't changing, but we're adding a little bit additional volume to once again round off some of those edges. And you'll tend to notice that you are sticking with compound movements, and the RIR concept still holds. So week 1 through 3, you're accumulating more intensity, so the days are getting harder. And then week 4, you dive it back down. And you can do that same idea if you find it pretty damn intense, where on the 4th week, you just knock out 1 set from every single exercise, and that's automatically over a 25% reduction in total volume for that week. I think most people, if you're experienced, if you're intermediate, you should be fine. But a few things once again to note right here. It's a nice rough skeleton of how you should be following this program, but you could substitute an exercise in, sub another one out. There's not a perfectly even distribution between lower body and upper body. And yes, I'm joking when I say this, but some individuals might want to train calves. You might want to throw that in there. You might want to throw an exercise out. Let's say you have the world's biggest biceps. Congratulations. you ought to be proud of yourself. You can sub out a bicep exercise. If you have a particular area that's overdeveloped and you think that my split is too symmetrical and you want to make it a little bit more asymmetrical in order to fit towards your goal, do that, right? So this, once again, I think is a very effective 5-day split that's more focused on size with some strength. So I'd say it's size first with a complementary strength routine attached to it. If you wanted to be a pure powerlifter, this wouldn't be the right program for you. I think this does apply for most people, however. You made it to the end, all the way to the end. Congratulations. We went over a 3-day, 4-day, and 5-day split for hypertrophy and strength. I think each of these routines will be effective. I think there's also more information in the description. If you're curious, if you enjoyed this comprehensive video, now you're armed in 2020 to make the most amount of progress you have ever made. Congratulations, Skippy. Go ahead and like the damn video and let me know what you want to see in the comment section below, because we're back every other day with fresh new content. Stay tuned to see some of the stuff that we have planned. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see all you guys, my rascals, except that guy that wrote that shit at the beginning. That shit, it wasn't funny.
Yes.
It wasn't. No, this is a children's channel. We could say fuck him. Okay? What? Huh? And we'll see all you guys, my rascals, in that next one. Peace.
Eat your vegetables, eat your vegetables, eat your fucking vegetables.